internet! I'm once again being hounded by the sun. I tried to like shade it this time. These are not blackout curtains. We're having some issues. Oh my god, that's like really hard. So today, for week 1 of trying something different, I'm going to do something exactly the same. Now, I've just been trying to record this video for a really long time and just have never been able to do it, so I'm gonna do it today. So recently, when choosing books to read, I have discovered that there are a couple of weirdly specific plot lines I always gravitate towards. Now, that doesn't mean the book itself is going to be good or that I'll enjoy the movie, but I'm more likely to want to watch or read something if it involves these really random plot lines. So I thought, just to give a little bit of a taste of my weirdness, that we were going to talk about it today. Okay, so these are weirdly specific plot lines that I will always gravitate towards no matter what. So the first is when people are going back into their past for some reason. Usually it's to solve a murder, but there are other reasons for it, and they go back to their childhood home and they uncover these dark family secrets that have been hidden for years. It's a pretty decently common plot line, but for some reason I just think it's absolutely fascinating because I want to know what that dark family secret is. Sometimes it's really dumb. I read a book once, I can't remember what it was called. It was one of those like sappy romance books that had that as a plot line, and I don't even remember what the twist was. I've seen some really cool stuff. I've seen things involving cults. I've seen things involving like deathbed murder confessions. It's just a lot of fun. And a lot of these times, these family secrets, even if they're revealed rather early in the plot line, never really turn out the way you think they are. And so it's not really like a proper murder mystery whodunit. It's like this. It's usually ridiculously convoluted, and in some cases it's not great, but it's a lot of fun. Continuing on with the more mystery thread, because when I was thinking of these, all I kept coming up with were like mystery or thriller plot lines that will always get me hooked. I don't know why, because I don't read or watch mysteries a lot, but I do watch a lot of like cop shows. My nan really likes NCIS, so that's on a lot. I like Criminal Minds a lot. I'm a huge fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so a lot of things with like mysteries and things underneath stuff are really interesting to me, even though it's not something I actually usually gravitate towards. But there's always one, and it always shows up in like cop procedurals. Like, I've never really seen a movie like this or a book like this unless it's a sappy romance. One plotline that comes up a lot in cop procedurals is the two cops going undercover together as like boyfriend, girlfriend, or man and wife. And I love undercover plot lines, like things that aren't like that, like something just like The Americans, where the whole thing is just completely undercover and it's tense because you don't want people to find out, but you do because they're undercover. I don't know. There's that tension of whether or not other people are going to find out that they're undercover, and there's something just so tense about it. And my favorite thing is when two cops with like noted sexual chemistry will go and be undercover together as man and wife, and most of the time they'll end up like kissing for real at the end. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a great example of this. Sometimes they won't, and I watched an episode of NCIS LA recently where that happened, and I just was so frustrated. If you watch this channel, you know I know nothing about romance, but it was frustrating to me that they didn't end up together at the end of this episode. So for some reason I think it's a lot of fun. There's the tension, there's the mostly just tension. I think it's great. I love it. Moving away from mysteries but not too far, one of my absolute favorite things, and a lot of times there's not movies about this, it's usually an episode in a TV show quite late on, or if it's a long-running series, something that happens late in the series, and it's a muggle finding out about the big secret. Now, this could be a big secret like that the H2O girls are mermaids, or that the secret magical universe is right next to ours, and there's always that one human character that finds out about it, or one episode where the person's secret is revealed to the world. I love those episodes. I love watching the reactions. I love like kind of watching people try and like cover it up and it's like being clearly obvious that this isn't happening. I just think it's a really fun, it's always a fun episode. You can even do it with something mundane, like the one where everyone finds out in Friends is one of my favorite episodes. I think it's a really, really good time. The kind of hilarity and like excitement of people finding out a secret, I think is really fun. So because that's got kind of like a magical thread, we're gonna slide on from that. And another thing I really enjoy is twisted fairy tales. Now, this really isn't surprising either, I know, but I love fairy tales that are like really, really, really dark. And I don't mean like, oh, well, you know that the original fairy tales are dark. Like, no, I know. And I think that's way more fun. I love exploring kind of like the undercover implications of it. Pan's Labyrinth is one of my all-time favorite films. And that's a very dark, kind of twisted Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz sort of story. And then there were books that I read as a kid called The Looking Glass Wars, where a movie adaptation was actually cancelled because the concept was too similar to Tim Burton's version. Not plotline wise, but like visuals. So you can kind of see how that went on. Or there's the book called The Child Thief, which was a twist on Peter Pan and is so fucked up. We usually think of these things as really happy and fun, but then they're just not, and that you take them and you just like twist them, and I love it. I think it's great. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is a really simple one, and again, it's of no surprise to anybody. I love watching sibling relationships, and this could be any sibling relationship, but I love the idea one character and their sibling they're the primary form. I talked about I'll Give You the Sun last week, which focused on a sibling relationship. Anytime, like in the Vampire Diaries, there's the relationship between Elena and her brother that I just really liked watching. Anytime there's any sort of like sibling where one was like trying to protect the other, I don't know why, but I think it's lovely, and you don't see those sorts of relationships very often. I think they're just really nice and they're really fun. So that was quite a simple one, kind of chatty, but I wanted to talk about this for a little while because I've been noticing the sorts of things I've been gravitating towards, and when I point out like those plot lines, like, oh, I'll always pick up a book like this, I realize that's such a weirdly specific thing to enjoy. So I thought I would just ramble on about it for a while because I'm sure it's not that weird to have, you know, stories like this that people just enjoy for no reason. So that's mine. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, I've left all my social media in the description box below, so please check those out if you did enjoy this video and you want to see more of this face. Please hit that subscribe button. Let's be friends. It'll be a fun time. And I post new videos on Fridays. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.